Our surface area section is going to be a little bit longer, so stick with me. I'm going to start with some of the easier equations that we have and then move and progress through, and they're going to get a little bit more difficult. So please make sure and watch all the videos. Don't just kind of give up. The ones at the end are going to be really, really important. So surface area is a type of area. So we're still dealing with our area here. We want to make sure that it's a unit that's squared. So our units are still going to be squared. So our units are going to be things like centimeters squared, millimeters squared, yards squared. And it's really important that you make sure and label these because we're also going to be dealing with volume in a little bit, and they're going to be centimeters cubed. And then we also have things like our Pythagorean theorem, which are plane centimeters. So it's really important that we're able to communicate mathematically and make sure everybody knows that this is an area unit. Surface area is going to be three-dimensional shapes, but we're going to find the area of each one of their lateral faces. So each one of their faces is going to be like a rectangle or a triangle or a circle. So we know how to find those areas. We're basically going to be putting all of them together. So let's look at an example here. Move down. This is a right rectangular prism or a box. We have a formula. Some people would rather not use the formula for this and they want to add up each one of the sides. That's completely fine. You'll see there sometimes it's easier to use a formula, sometimes it's easier to think about each side being separate, and that's just kind of a personal choice, and it doesn't matter to me. Whatever works best for you is the right answer for you. So we have a front side of our cereal box and the back side. So we've got these two that are the same size. That's why we have the two out front. That means both the front and the back. Then you've got your top flaps and your bottom flaps, that's keeping the cereal in there. They're also the same. And then your two side flaps where your nutritional information is, again, those are the same. So that's why we have the two, because these are going to come in pairs. So basically, if we're going to use the formula, I'm just going to plug in my numbers down below. So here I plugged in my 11, 8, and 2.5. I know it's a little bit hard to read on this scanned in copy, but in your notes packet, you can see that that is 2.5. It's a little bit easier to read right here. So everywhere I saw the length, I put 8, the width, I put 2.5, and the height, I put 11. Don't stress too much about which one is the length, width, or height. Just know that they're going to come in pairs of 2. So if I plug that in my calculator, I get out 271, really important to make sure and put those units there, inches squared. Next example we have here is a cube. A cube, all the lengths are the same. So in our case, they're going to be 2. So it's a 2 by 2 by 2. The length, the width, and the height all have to be exactly the same to make it a cube. Think about a dice. They're square sides. They're 6 square sides. So that's where we get our formula from up here is 6s squared. The 6 because there's 6 sides. You can see here from the net there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. And the area of one of these is whatever the length is squared. Or you can think about it being 2 by 2. So each one of these is 4. So they're 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So you could really just count up each side. Or using our formula, we could plug in 6. Our side length was 2 squared. And it's always going to be 6. That doesn't change. The only thing that's going to change is our length of our sides there. So we get in either way, if you want to count it up or if you want to use the formula, you get 24 meters squared. My only side note to this is make sure to only use the cube when the length, width, and height are the same. If they're not the same, if one of them is different, then you have to use the rectangular prism strategies.